Welcome to the Healing Pod. I'm Megan, a licensed clinical psychologist.
And I'm Jessica, a licensed clinical social worker, and this is our journey of navigating anxiety as we learn to take up space and create an environment where we feel that we can belong.
Join us together as we learn not just to survive, but to thrive in our anxious brains.
This podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional therapy or medical advice. If you are experiencing any mental health concerns, please seek support from a qualified mental health professional or healthcare provider. Remember, your mental health is important, and seeking personalized professional help is key to your well-being.
And welcome back. We have Keith joining us back again because why not? He wanted to have some fun, and it's been another fucking week.
Yeah, it'll be fun though.
Oh, it'll be great fun. We need fun.
Yes, welcome back, Keith. We are going to be unloading all of that emotional baggage that we all tend to carry around and see if we're carrying it into the therapy room with us.
Ooh. I mean, that's the problem with... I don't know. It's got Velcro. Like, it sticks to you, and if you don't know to look for it, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if it's just like related to the clients, when you go back in, it's like, all right, which client session am I heading into? And that just opens up that box to everything from the last session you were with them, everything that they did, everything that you did with them, everything you thought you did wrong, all of that fun stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really helps us find the emotional baggage maybe we've been carrying that we just kind of tucked away and ignored, as well as the emotional baggage that maybe that client created for us.
Trust me, the camouflage on your valise is not actually that good. We see it there. It is so much fun though. And it doesn't matter if it all matches. It doesn't. And it's all overpacked. And we have to work on it. What are we doing? Why are we carrying it with us? How do we unpack some of that stuff? Do we need it? All of it.
Yes. What purpose does it have? And what lesson have we learned? And what do we still need to learn from it?
Learning? You expect us to be smart now too?
Yes. Aren't you both doctors?
Yes. Try to get you to be a doctor. Are you saying, Keith?
No, I say only when it's convenient. Am I a doctor?
Mm-hmm.
I went to the dentist this morning and they said, you know, when we left you a message, it said, Dr. Christie, what do you do? And I said, I'm a psychologist. She said, oh, so you weren't like analyzing me last time you were here, were you? And I said, no, not unless you're paying me. I do not have the time or the energy or the desire.
So the real question is, how does that feel when everybody thinks we're analyzing once they find out what we do?
And
well, that's why usually if people ask me what I do, I start with I'm a doctor, and then I wait and see if they ask what kind of doctor. To try to hope that they don't, or that I can slow that down a little bit, or they'll get distracted or something. Because it usually turns into, hey, you're not analyzing me, or let me tell you about my brother. He is the worst. And the next thing you know, you spend an hour and a half of the time that you're supposed to be at a party enjoying yourself, hearing about somebody else's trauma and tragedy that you've been listening to all day and all week.
Mm-hmm.
So
I find it very fun because I was at a vacation with my mom and some of her old high school friends, because that's how I roll sometimes. It's fun. And this one just kept going, oh, but you're a doctor, you're a doctor, you're a doctor. And she was very drunk after a while. She's like, well, fine, analyze me. So I'm like, all right, bet. And she didn't ask me that again for the rest of the day. It was great.
that's a good strategy, yeah.
Good party trick. Pick the most train wreck looking one out of the entire group.
It's like, because when they're asking that, there's always something. There's something glaringly obvious that they want you to be able to say is someone else's fault and not theirs, and they don't need to work out. I'm like, no, you want me to... Here's that. You want me to keep going, or you want to back off and let me have my kamikazes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun. So what is emotional baggage? Dead silence. I love that.
I was wondering, is that a rhetorical question, or were we
I don't know.
supposed to
Is
answer
it?
that?
Go for it. What is emotional baggage? What is this nonsense we're talking about?
All that stuff that we hold on to that isn't necessarily helpful. And I think one of the ways that I'm learning that I hold that I wasn't really trained a whole lot in school is I hold it in my body. And in the way that it affects your even your digestion or you know the energy that you have during the day or the aches and pains and the way that you interpret those things throughout the day.
Yeah, definitely the somatic connection. It's so visceral and so real and so easy to skid off into woo land and disconnect it from everything, which is the exact same problem as when you mentally skid off into woo land and disconnect that from everything in your body. Like neither of them can exist in the vacuum. But as soon as we learn one, we want to just put it over there and only deal with that one. But seeing how they connect to each other and how they impact each other really explains a lot about old people's digestion.
Yeah.
It really does.
Absolutely. The way that it even just shows up in kind of your stress, your hormones. Whenever I have clients tell me that, you know, I haven't had my period in so long and I'm so stressed and everything is changing and I don't know what's going on with me. I think you're holding it. Let's kind of process what you're feeling in your body. Where is that showing up for you? Because you might have the problem that's happening physically with you, all based on this emotional piece of you that you're tucking away for why.
And that's what, like, when I think of emotional baggage, that's kind of how I conceptualize it. Like, we're taking this thing and we're covering it up so we don't have to look at it and we don't have to deal with it and we don't have to touch it. And then when it affects everything in our life anyway, I can act surprised. And, like, I don't understand
where'd that come
why.
from?
It's so weird. I don't know.
I kind of
It's in a
related
pretty
to
box.
right. I related to that suitcase. You went on a trip 6 months ago. Did you ever unpack that bag, or are you still just randomly digging through it when you're missing something you need?
It was a week ago, and I'll unpack it later, okay? Usually I'm good at that. Not this time around.
It's time to unpack that bag, Megan.
I know. As soon as I get more water, it needs to rain. Our well is running dry. It really needs to rain here.
Yes.
And sometimes it's okay to know that that bag is there and you don't have to go into it right now too.
Yes. Like it is just all these emotions, these beliefs, these experiences, these things that affect us and help to guide how we're seeing life, how we're wanting to respond to it, how we're living it, that we don't want to deal with right now. So we're just carrying it with us and not looking at it directly. And sometimes we need to carry it with us. We need to keep processing it and keep being aware of it. It's just how tightly do we keep that baggage clung to us and how tightly do we keep all those cases closed? Do we know what's in there? Are we ignoring it? Yeah.
I think the ultimate goal is to be able to unpack it. But if you're not ready in that particular moment, or if if there's something else, sometimes, like with compartmentalizing, when you put something on the shelf, it's like, I recognize I can't deal with this right now, but I need to deal with it. And I don't want to forget that I need to deal with it. So I'm going to keep it in sight, but it's not something that is in my immediate reach.
Exactly. We need it. Just like all of our maladaptive coping skills. We need them. We love them.
Yeah.
We love them. It's wonderful. You can't take it from me. But I could also develop some healthier ones so I don't have to cling to it as tightly. I can have healthier options. But I like the wine, and you can't take it yet.
I thought that because you were a doctor, you just had all the right coping skills and didn't have any problems.
I think, oh gosh, I was just in one of the therapist boards and somebody was commenting they get ticked off whenever their therapist, because all therapists need a therapist, tells them, well, what would you tell a client who had this problem? And they didn't want to be a therapist. I know. It's like they didn't want to be a therapist and they didn't want to have to think about therapeutic skills. Like, but we have them and we have to use them. Otherwise, we are full of shit and we are hypocrites.
It's only for other people,
So-
not for us.
No, we are not full of shit hypocrites. We are better than those clinicians.
So
That's right.
knowing that we are all similar but different therapists, we all look at different angles and different pieces of how people show up and how we show up in it. What would you say, Keith, is your therapeutic angle that you take when somebody comes in with emotional baggage that they think they're ready to touch on, but they keep pulling back from?
I guess I would have them, metaphorically sit there with the bag in their hand, and we'll talk about it and hope that we can slowly start to, open that bag up. If it's something that they're ready for, then I think it's just dealing with that anticipatory anxiety and helping them, be more resolved in the choice that, yeah, this is what I need to do. Sometimes that's just by going over the things that, why is this relevant? How do I keep seeing this in my life? What ways is this a problem? Because if it's not a problem, it wouldn't keep coming up. It wouldn't be affecting you. So that's the importance of going through it. So the easy part is if you don't have to convince them that they have baggage. That part's easy. Yeah.
If you have to convince them they have baggage, then they came into therapy to complain about someone else in their family.
Yes.
Yes. That's, yeah, if you constantly complain about other people in your family, you might want to unpack your own stuff too sometimes.
I feel like that was
Doesn't mean they're not a
show
problem,
conversation.
This is a frequent conversation we have. It is. Family therapy is fun.
Does everything keep happening to you, or do you have a piece in this?
Right.
I am completely innocent and have never done anything wrong my entire life. How dare you? Go drink another bottle of wine, thank you.
And it's interesting to see the difference in people that I've seen in individual therapy and then as a couple or as a family, and how differently they present and the types of things that they'll talk about or won't talk about, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it lets you see that baggage from all different angles. Like, how does it come out and play in these different scenarios? How does it impact their sense of self, their sense of interactions, their sense of relationship, how they talk, how they move, how they deal with the problems that come up? And how might we move some of that out of the way and try to get it all in line a little bit better so you can just be you?
Mm-hmm.
It's the hard part, isn't it?
I always make things difficult.
I do. I make things difficult. I don't always make my people feel happy and go lucky when they're in sessions. They yell at me when they cry. It's great.
Yeah. Well, and that's an important point, though, because sometimes unpacking this baggage isn't a pleasant experience, and it does hurt, and it does cause more problems in the short term, or, more symptoms in that way. So it can be very difficult, and that's why I say you got to go as you're ready. But that's why you have a therapist to kind of help you bear the load, so to speak, and help you focus on what's important. Make sure that you're not snowballing into all these things that just don't matter.
Mm-hmm. Like if your baggage is holding on to all these things that happened that made you feel like you're worthless, you don't count as much, people don't listen to you, they don't care about you, and you don't want to look at that because looking at that reminds you that you feel like you're worthless and you don't care or count as much and people don't care about you, you can't just ignore that. You have to look at those feelings. You have to let yourself say, this is what I'm feeling, and this sucks. Why am I letting myself feel this way? What goes on? Why do I believe this? How do I start working on it?
Yep.
I think kind of looking at what are some actionable steps that our listeners that maybe they're ready to engage in therapy, or they're not sure, they notice that things are going wrong in their daily lives. And our podcast kind of sparks that. Maybe I have emotional baggage that I didn't realize. What are some actionable steps until they're able to get in with the therapist that can help them identify maybe what that baggage is so that they know where to start?
Got any suggestions, Keith?
I don't know. I guess one of the things I was thinking about is, where does the baggage come from? Because sometimes that's important too. If it's in regards to a relationship, then baggage from a breakup or a hurtful experience or things like that can be there. Maybe it's trauma from childhood. Maybe it's something else. So that is important to kind of understand where it's coming from or what it relates to. So trying to look for those associations, I guess.
And that, like, I was just working with a client on this today, like, that can come up when you look at what are these things that bother me. So if I'm always fighting with my significant other about this type of thing, or if this type of thing always sets me off, okay, well, let's talk about that thing for a moment. What is that? What does it mean? Wow, that sounds like it's My favorite example is telling couples it's never about the fucking toothpaste. You're not actually arguing about the toothpaste.
Right.
What's the toothpaste doing? Well, it's making a mess. Okay, why does a mess matter? Well, I have to clean up the mess. Okay, why do you cleaning up the mess matters? Well, I'm always cleaning up the mess. Okay, what does that feel like? Well, it feels like I have to do all the work. Okay, now we're getting somewhere deeper. Now we're figuring out why the toothpaste sets you off. Because if you just stay about the toothpaste, you're not actually looking in the baggage. So yeah, identifying it, taking that time to say, where did it come from? What's behind this? What on earth does it mean? Because if it doesn't mean anything, you can toss it. If I have a bag that I hate that has nothing in it, I can leave it on a train and I won't care. But we're not doing that. We are clinging to it for dear life. We are fighting tooth and nail to hold on to this baggage. Why? There's something in there that matters. You can't just let it go because it's important. And letting it go means just ignoring it and shoving it in a bigger bag.
Kind of having that imagery of like a Mary Poppins bag where you're pulling out these things that you're like, well, this is useless. I don't need this. And you're like, wait a minute, this might have some value. And it just keeps going until you kind of finally get to the bottom of that never-ending bag.
Yes, exactly. It's like, what connects next? What is it attached to? What is that tied up to next? What does it mean? What is it, when you start looking at that, what do you feel? Where else have you felt that? What does that bring? What does that remind you of? When's the first time you remember feeling like that? That's a scary one to ask sometimes. Yeah, so however you can look at it and actually look at it and look at it deeper, that's going to give you some room to understand what it actually is. And whether you're drawing it, writing it down, talking about it, just sitting with it will help.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
my experience as a client in therapy too is that awareness is a huge key. Huge key. It seems like, why do I keep talking about the same thing? But the more that you're aware of it, the more you notice it. The more you notice it, the more likely you are, because you're not going to act on it every time. You're not going to notice it every time. But if you don't even recognize that it's an issue or that it's there, so it starts just with that awareness of record. Hey, this is there, and that's consistent. So for, if I have an interaction with somebody and they say something bad about me and I wonder if that's true, if they're the only ones that have ever told me that, then maybe there's not much to it. But if I'm hearing similar things from different places, then maybe there's some baggage that I'm carrying around.
And always consider the source too with something like that. Is the person who's telling you this a jerk? Do you hate them? Do they hate you? Are they constantly out to forget you? Or do you call them a jerk because they tell you this stuff? And everyone that tells you this, you call a jerk. And it might be something closer to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Was it said out of anger or was it said out of love? And you just got upset that they said it to you.
Just because you're upset does not mean they're wrong or they said it out of anger. Your feelings are completely and utterly valid, even if they're based on bullshit. You're still feeling them. They are true feelings. They are valid.
Your feelings are valid. Your logic is just non-existent.
Exactly.
You need a little bit of both. Your feelings can lie to you.
They can. They still need to be dealt with. You still need to calm yourself down, help yourself feel better, but not necessarily by attacking the thing you think gave you that feeling. That may be true.
Are feelings causing intrusive thoughts?
Sometimes.
So I was talking about that in the context of projective identification. When, I wouldn't drink so much if you weren't such a bitch. And then you start thinking that, oh, well, I got to walk on eggshells so that he doesn't drink. And then next thing you know, you realize, oh, he's still drinking and it has nothing to do with me. And I took all this on myself. That's emotional baggage you don't need to be carrying around.
That's like somebody walking up into you at the airport and handing you their suitcase and saying, hold this as they walk away.
That's exactly what it's like. And the airport is very clear. Do not do that.
You either got cocaine or you're getting blown up.
I've seen these movies. It's bad. But that is like, sometimes people try to hand you baggage. They try to hand you their own shit. You do not have to accept it. You can be a person that does not like to be handed things and just say, no, thank you. That's yours.
Yep.
Yeah.
As a parent, that's a tough one though too. Letting your kids have their feelings and dealing with their stuff without taking it on yourself or taking it as some shortcoming or, taking on their feelings.
Absolutely. And it's especially difficult as a parent because you are going to mess up. You're going to hurt your child in small ways, not big ways, or we come after you. But you are going to cause pain at times because you're going to do things like tell your child no, ground your child, misunderstand your child. You're going to be human. Are you going to carry that with you and tell yourself that makes you a horrible parent? What are we going to do with that?
Practice self-compassion. We can have compassion for others. It's okay to have compassion for yourself.
No, I have to be perfect at all times. What are you talking about?
No turtling.
Fine. Ugh. It is so hard to have self-compassion. It is so hard to not be that critical and have those high expectations for yourself.
Yeah. I work really hard at treating myself as well as I do other people sometimes, but it doesn't always work out that way.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Like being able to forgive yourself for mistakes instead of holding yourself to it every time you think you might have made a similar mistake. Like that's hard. Being able to forgive other people, sometimes that is also hard. But a lot goes into forgiveness, that's a tough one.
I think that's a common question that I get in therapy when we talk about forgiveness. Like, why do I have to forgive them? How does forgiveness help me? What is that going to fix?
That's right. It is for you so that you can let it go.
Yes. Why are you poisoning yourself? You're not hurting them.
Yeah.
Hurting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of times forgiveness gets muddled up, though, because forgiveness can be weaponized. Well, you were supposed to forgive me. Why are you still hurt by that? Why are you still upset by that? Why are you acting like I'm doing the same thing that I totally am doing again? You were supposed to forgive me for that. Why are you bringing up this old problem that is a repeat of the problem I'm doing now and is a good example for you? You were supposed to forgive me. So how do you forgive, and what does forgiving actually mean? Anyone got that answer? Throwing you guys the hard questions.
We're going to put it on our guest.
Ooh, yeah.
Everybody knows how
How's forgiveness.
Thank you. That's why I came on.
We love you, Keith.
Well, I was thinking about forgiveness, and to me it is that I know that you did this and I'm not holding on to it anymore. It doesn't mean that everything is better. It doesn't mean necessarily that you like the person or that you ever have to talk to them again, but you can still forgive. One of the things I was thinking about, I can't remember what it was, but it was several years ago. I watched a documentary on forgiveness, and it was about Holocaust survivors and how some of them chose to go back to the concentration camps where there were also some of the soldiers and officers and things like that. And people were just wondering how the heck you could do this and why you would do that. And a lot of the stuff that they were talking about is really important to forgiveness in general. In going in as the victims, to go and see those officers in person in a different context, it humanized them in a way that they weren't humanized before. And that happened on both sides. And so there was a shift in perspective on both sides, because they were able to see each other as humans, and again, it was not a pleasant experience. They had a whole a group of people talking about it afterwards, and everybody had a very different experience. But those were some of the things that I see that are really important with forgiveness, is to be able to see people as human, to be able to empathize, to be able to say, this hurts terribly. Imagine the pain that those people carry around, and if they're still alive, that they probably still carry around they do carry around to some degree, But so it doesn't mean that they just forget about all that stuff. It means that they're not carrying the weight of it all the time. So forgiveness is for me more than it is for you. An apology is from me, that I did something wrong and I need to show you that. I will forgive you when you show me that you're sorry.
And I love that both that apology and that forgiveness, it focuses on the only person you have control of is yourself. How are you moving forward with this? How are you making an understanding? How are you creating your own closure by putting this in the context of how you see the world?
Mm-hmm.
Forgiving others doesn't mean it's fine. You didn't mean to kill me. I'm just gonna haunt you for no. It doesn't. It means I can see how everything led up to that, and I'm not gonna hold on to it. I don't think it was a good thing. I don't need to think it was a good thing. I don't need to think you were good when you did it, but I need to see that you are human and that I am human and that I don't have to stay in the same place and have the same hurt.
Mm-hmm.
If I understand it, I can adjust more in the future and prevent myself from similar situations.
Yeah.
Putting down that poison apple. There was, I can't remember the name of the girl now. Now I'm going to feel terrible. I'm obsessed with serial killer documentaries. And there was this teenager that was killing girls at a college. And one of the moms, when they're given the victim statements, impact statements at the end, the mom walked up to him and told him, I know everybody here wants to tell you how much you ruined their lives and how much you hurt their daughters and they'll never forgive you. But I want you to know that I forgive you. I believe that you have the ability to have good in you. And while I will never have my daughter back, I'm not going to hold on to this because that's not what my daughter would want. So I'm forgiving you for me. And I hope that you find the you needed. And I was just like, wow, like,
yeah,
in a situation like that somebody is able to recognize what forgiveness actually meant for them and how
it's for her.
Yeah, and I think the boundaries are another important part that you both kind of brought up there. Forgiveness doesn't mean I'm okay with you. Forgiveness doesn't mean go on, do whatever you want. It's not going to happen again. Forgiveness doesn't mean a free pass. Forgiveness is letting myself free of what happened. And maybe that means I'll never talk to you again. Maybe that means you go to jail forever. Maybe that means whatever. But I'm not going to be there with you. I'm not going to hold myself in this trauma space and reliving this over and over and over again with it staying active. I'm going to understand it. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to say, you know what? Okay, I forgive you. And how do I move on and find my own safety here? Which is hard. It is freaking hard, especially when you want to be angry. And that goes back to that baggage. Sometimes we want to be angry. I want to hold a grudge against people.
Yeah.
I'm that one.
Well, anger can be motivating.
Yeah.
Anger wants change.
I'm going to carry my grudge purse with me. I have a hard time putting that down. I'm mad at you. And I want to be able to bring that back up when you piss me off 6 weeks from now.
That's why I said sometimes you want to carry your bag with you. And just own it when you're doing it.
Yes.
Know that you're doing it.
Yeah, anger is that secondary emotion. It is very motivated. It is transformative because anger wants change. So if you're holding on to that grudge and you're holding on to that anger, what are you doing to change things? What are you actually angry at? And that's where I think it's got to be bigger than a person, because if you're holding on to grudge and holding on to anger at one person, there's not a lot of legal things you can do to change that person. Very few. Yeah. If you're angry at a system, if you're angry at a bunch of nonsense that is happening in this world, there might be some things you can do with that. There might be ways to put that into use. That still doesn't mean you don't have to forgive the people that are part of that system. But you don't have to forgive the system, because that might need some change.
Yeah.
Most of them do.
Yeah. They're systems. They're not meant to be static. They're meant to burn down and start again.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes we want to hold on to it, and then that question is, why? Is this something I need? Is this something useful? Is this something true? How do I actually question those thoughts? How do I challenge my own beliefs about my own emotions and my own experiences to better understand them and to make them more useful to me? What do we do with that?
I think a big thing too, are you blaming yourself? Is the forgiveness for you in a different way, forgiving yourself for maybe staying in a situation that keeps repeating.
Yeah. I think that's a good point for me too. I didn't even realize that as we were talking, but that's more of a one for it is easier for me to forgive other people than it is myself too. Where I look at a shortcoming of my own and I'll hold on to it for years and years and years. And I look at somebody else and I'm like, leave them alone. What's the problem?
Now I'm wondering, is that insurance services problem? Because I have the same problem. And I know Megan does.
There might be a reason we get into this field.
Yeah, well, I came on today thinking I was just going to let out all my emotional baggage and let you guys sort it out, but...
Well, the valise goes over there. The clothing bag goes...
Let's unpack this. I think your suitcase is overpacked and there's too much. What do you actually need to keep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not much.
That is a big thing. Like, why is it so hard to forgive ourselves for things that we can clearly see why other people got stuck in those, like traumatic relationships? It is notoriously hard to leave a bad relationship. And there's tons of reasons why. There's, cost benefit analysis. There's just, I can save them. There's the lack of resource. Like, there's so many reasons why. But if we, as enlightened people, had a hard time leaving a relationship, how dare we? We should have known from step one, because we should have given them the PHQ and said, no, I'm sorry, you're too anxious for me, and run away.
Right.
I made up acronyms there. I'm pretty sure that's not the real
well,
one for
no,
it.
maybe we should just start doing mood screeners for everybody that we meet. Everybody,
I'll bring back the
everywhere.
Rorschach. I love my Rorschach.
Well, with AI, I'm sure we could automate that process too and make it much more efficient.
Oh, that would be so much easier to score. Man. Last time I did one, I had to completely hand score it. And let me tell you guys, that's a lot of math.
I feel like now you can just copy and paste into ChatGPT and it'll give you your scores.
I'm going to try that and see how bad it is with the Rorschach sometime.
Yeah.
I need to. That'd be fun.
I haven't done that one in a long time for good reason. It's fun. It's just very difficult to learn and do, to feel competent in.
I love it, and I have always loved it because one of the reasons is Scrumenti there. Because when people don't learn it and they don't know it, they have it so wrong, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, if you see too many frogs, and that was literally the example he used, it means you hate your mother. I'm like, no, that means that's a
Speaking
nature
of emotional
score.
baggage, maybe...
Let's unpack that one.
What? Our old intern supervisor, emotional baggage, either of us?
So I hope you haven't invited him to listen to your podcast, because he'll come after both of us.
What if we
Try
invite him
it.
to be on the podcast so we can get all our questions answered?
Oh,
Oh, you would have so much
yeah.
fun with him, Jess. You would have
Yeah.
so much fun with him. The proportion of supervisors I learned what not to do from versus supervisors I really admired and learned how to practice from is depressing.
It did
Very
make me a
impressive.
better psychologist, though, because I definitely learned the things not to do. And,
Yes.
and like you were saying, it's to me, during the internship, it was the isolation. There was nobody to keep anybody in check. He was the only one with a doctoral degree, got it online, and had nobody to answer to, nobody to keep him in check. And if any of the interns tried, you were just out of line and insubordinate. So that's
There-
why we rebelled and did the fun, mature things that we did. It was fine. It
Absolutely.
made me feel better. And I'm not holding on to any baggage from that. That was like 15, 20 years ago.
And that goes into that, Scrumenti is just an example. I have no feelings for him now that I've gotten him to sign off my paperwork and
Right.
I'm staying in New York State. It's perfectly fine. He's the example of the system. He's the example of every individual I see in the therapist boards who are like, I just finished my internship. I'm opening a private practice. That makes me panic.
That gives me ideas. My interns know every time they're like, I'm going straight into private practice. I'm like, then I'm not the supervisor for you because no, we all grassroots it and start at the bottom and work your way to there because you don't know what you're doing.
Well, the
amount-
truth is, too, I tell people all the time that being a good clinician does not mean that you're a good practice owner. It does not mean you're going to have a successful practice. it's not just being a good clinician. You need to know how to run a practice. And so I give the exact same advice.
Yeah.
And those are
absolutely.
completely different worlds.
It's so hard to wear those two hats. You're either a really good therapist who's always stressed on the business side because holy crap, I don't have time for that, but my clients are more important. Or I need to focus on my business and now my clients I'm slacking on because I'm so focused on what I'm doing over here. And being practiced by myself, I struggle balancing those two hats.
Like if you're a really good clinician and you understand humanity and the factors that make things hard and why people might make decisions and why that matters, can you fire your front desk person that is screwing up right and left?
That's right.
You do have a business that you have to protect.
Yep.
So as you can see, we all have baggage, and it does it's just a little bit, but it directs us, and some of it does matter. Like some of our internship shit that we are carrying, that is shit.
Yeah.
Make sure that when someone hits that ethical line that waves one of those red flags, I am instantly panicking and on them and like, no.
Yep.
Some of it is useful. Some of it does not need to be completely burned. Others of it, like the stuff that makes you feel like shit and that you can't be forgiven and that you are a horrible human being just because you sneezed during someone's presentation and got snot all over them during a fancy moment, that can get burnt. That can get tossed to the side. That's not important.
I would carry that for the rest of my life.
I do this with little clients. We squash the embarrassment bugs. So you pull up one of those old memories that you're absolutely horrifically embarrassed by, and you drop the memory part of it and try to hold on to the emotion part of it as strong as you can and like pinpoint it in your body and squish it. And it's really hard to keep just the emotion there if you're not beating it with the memory. And it actually decreases the emotion a lot. So the next time you pull up the memory, it's not as strong. And I do this with little kids because the adults are too embarrassed to do this with me.
We lose our ability to have fun.
Yes. And
That's what I love the most about kids. They're so curious about anything and, that kind of stuff. They have an energy. They just to keep going all the time.
And that's why Jess and I do the equine therapy too, because it gets everyone just off kilter enough. You can get them playing again.
Yes. Those horsey breaths. We always start with that. After they get past the embarrassment of doing that, you can get them to do anything out there with the horses.
It's so much fun. Telling you gotta come try sometime, Keith.
Maybe I will. I mean, last time I was on one of your horses, it didn't work out real well for me, but I need to try again. I'm not holding on to any baggage from that. I'm just saying.
So some of our baggage we do need. Some of our baggage we could do without.
And letting it go is not erasing it from your past. You've learned your lesson. Now we're choosing to move forward.
Right. So how can we practice letting some of this go? How can we pick one to let go? What do we do with it? How do we figure this out?
If it's a relationship, for me, I like to frame it kind of in terms of not letting this person rent space in your head anymore. It's not worth it. The more that you keep going over and over and over, you need to just decide and treat it sometimes as if that person were right here in the room with you. And what would you say if they showed up in this room? If they showed up in this room, you would have a reaction and hopefully tell them, go away, you ain't coming in. So don't let them in your head either. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't do that. They don't deserve that. They ain't paying you rent for that space.
You're not welcome here.
What if you write out an actual eviction notice and all of the things like, I don't want you here because of this and this and this, and I deserve better. Pack your bags and go. Your baggage is not mine. I refuse to hold it. If you leave it here, I'm going to burn it.
Walk away from unattended luggage.
Yes. If you see something, say something and don't pick it up.
Especially don't.
I love that. Like, imagine they're in the room. What would you say if they were physically there versus just the thought of them? write an eviction notice, do something, like make a ritual of it. Rituals have power because we're doing things on purpose. And we are there, we are present, and we are doing something on purpose. So we're putting intention behind it and we are practicing it. So make a ritual. Write it down and rip it up. Write it down and burn it because fire is fun. You know,
Right.
label a piece of garbage and chuck it in the bin. Do something to say this baggage is not mine. I don't need this piece. There's other pieces I might still be holding on to, but this piece, not mine.
Yes. Like the activity that you shared, I think that one is a good one for our listeners, because if you're too embarrassed to do it in front of somebody else, it's something that you can do on your own, of practicing separating that memory from the emotion and just wash your emotion. Pinch it, hold it.
Emotions are transient. They don't last if you don't feed them, like most things in this world. Feed your pets, people.
So it's basically sourdough. You have to feed the yeast, right?
No.
Yeah. It is.
I
It is
think
sourdough.
though that corrective action is really important though too, especially if it's baggage towards yourself or something, guilt and those kind of things. Being able to get another shot at it, trying it again, and to prove to yourself, I don't have to hold on to this anymore. I've gotten past that part of my life, or I'm holding on to this because I packed it all up because I didn't know what to do with it. I couldn't do anything. Well, now you're a different person. Now you're in a different place, looking at it from that standpoint.
And that you have different skills and you can do it. And that's like the corrective action, like you said, that can be played out in your mind. If you don't want anyone to know that you're sitting there and actually burning things, you can think of the incident that let you have that baggage and you can end it differently. You can imagine through in as much detail as you can, because that always makes it better, exactly how you would end it now with your adult self, all the skills you have, all the things you have learned, all the bullshit you have dropped off. Do it different and say, yeah, that's what would happen the next time. I don't need to stay there anymore. I don't need it.
Putting it away.
And again, it's not about erasing the past. It's not about pretending things didn't happen. It's about being more in the present and in where you are now and seeing the difference, seeing that you can do this.
Yeah.
That feels like anyone have anything else to say? That feels like we kind of can wrap it up at that point.
Well, I mean, I could always come up with something to say. We could go on many tangents, but again, I need a road to stay on. If I don't have a road to go down, you will definitely not end me up anywhere that I would guess. I've had enough conversations with you, especially after like some barley pops, and it is much harder to have a clear direction for the conversation.
Those are fun, though.
Which, by the way, I did hear on one of the episodes, you blamed me for you drinking beer. That's
totally.
great.
Absolutely. I mean,
I'm
blame
glad
or credit.
That was the number one thing that you took from internship. That's how I helped you. I introduced you to beer.
Absolutely. Not like any of the self-confidence or the self-awareness. Nope.
Oh. Yeah.
You're creating emotional baggage here for me, Keith, because I believe that nobody listens to our podcasts and it's just us drinking and talking at night.
I'm okay with that.
Believe what you want to believe.
I am always shocked when someone mentions the podcast. I'm like, you listen to it?
I know. I got friends and clients that'll mention it, and I'm like, how did you find it?
Some of my wife's clients will mention it to her. I'm like, I don't even know that person. My aunt listens to it. Hi, Sue. It's like, that's so cool.
Yes.
Yep. It'll grow as you guys get more content and stuff out there too. You got the right product.
We got to find.
Yeah, and you're doing it for fun too. It's not like you're putting it in as a full-time job and all that stuff. So.
Nah, we got this. We got a good pace. We got this.
Yep.
I was working on our CRM last night, all night long. We got some things in the pipeline to kind of get us a road to go down. So we've got some direction.
We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I learned a lot from you too, Megan, was just going with the flow and accepting if I screw it up and I look like an ass, that's okay. I'll still survive.
Absolutely. It's the improv method of life. Yes, and like, okay, that's where we're at. Let's go with this.
Yep. Yep.
All right, so Jess, what do we want to leave everyone with? These listeners that we're always surprised to have, which is probably some of our own baggage. What do we want them to think on this week?
I want you to start thinking about what baggage are you holding that's light enough to let go yourself, but reflect on it so you can start practicing those small steps of awareness and actionable corrective steps for how they're impacting you in your day-to-day life. So then you can start putting it down. We don't need it anymore.
So just pay attention. What is this? If it's something you're holding on to, you're feeling a lot of guilt about, you're feeling a lot bad of yourself, try to find that grace, try to find that forgiveness that you would offer your best friend. See if you can look at it in a different light, take a different perspective, pretend it's not you talking to you about the problem, and then do something that helps it make sense in your world, something to wrap it up, something to, confront it, to change the ending, to show why you don't need to hold on to it anymore. And then kick that shit to the curb.
Yes.
Anything else either of you want to add?
I think that's it.
Unpacking the bag sometimes can be a big act of love for yourself, and that's where it needs to come from.
Ooh,
Sometimes
self-love.
not loving yourself is a big problem there too. It forces, we deserve this baggage. We deserve to feel like shit. We deserve to not have good relationships. We deserve to have crisis all the time. We deserve to get
All
beat
of
up,
those are lies. All
Yeah.
of those are lies.
Yeah.
Every single one of those. But that's an entire separate episode. We'll try to drag you back for that one.
Yeah, well, I'm like the client that likes to drop a bomb at the end of the session.
Doorknob questions. Doorknob questions are great. It's like, what happens if I did rob a bank? Wait, get your butt back in here. No.
I don't know. Go try it and let me know our next session.
I had to tell a kid,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you'll get in less trouble than you would as an adult because you're 9, but also you'll still be in trouble. So,
That's right.
all right. So drop off your baggage. We will make a clip for that and we will post it and call you guys out to do that this week. Otherwise, though, thank you all for joining us. If you found us before, you can find us again. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you can search the Healing Pod. You will probably find us. Like, where else? Where else are we at, Jess?
I found myself that you can put in the Healing Pod in Google and we pop right at the top. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And I am getting better. I have held to my goal and I have been posting regularly.
So proud of you. And Keith, where do we find you? You're not on our podcast often, so where do we find you at?
In Michigan. No,
Yeah,
I am online.
absolutely.
My practice is Journey Together. We're in Plymouth, Michigan. So journeytogetherpc.com is we're on Facebook and what's the other one? I don't remember. I don't do all that stuff. But
Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram.
I am not a social media guy much, but yes, I know you can find us on Facebook and on our website.
Beautiful. Awesome. So we will drop those challenges. Looking forward to hearing what baggage you are all getting rid of because we all got something we can toss and some things that we're going to hold near and dear, even though we know they're garbage.
I'm holding
There
my
are
breath.
emotional support garbage. All right. Talk to you all in a couple of weeks. Take care.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye. Thanks for having me.